Let's go. Let's go. LSU live stream. Go on ahead, give it a thumbs up, share this video with all your friends because obviously we got a lot to get to today. Give me a thumbs up if the audio sounds great. Our last live stream, which was kind of impromptu on Saturday, kind of got hot, as in the audio was a little hot, so I don't want to blow your ears out. Okay, Lemon, I think we're sounding good. So welcome. I want to say thanks to everyone that continues to support the channel. Now, Myles Brennan, more than likely not going to play on Saturday. It is a true week-to-week thing. Now, I am very lucky to know a few orthopedic surgeons, okay? Now, I don't know the extent of Myles Brennan's injury, but from speaking to people that know what they're talking about, I do not believe he is out for the season. And we talked about this in our last video. Let's be honest, okay? We need to get past this message board rumor era that has taken over the internet, okay? I don't know if I ever want this channel to be all about sources and this is happening behind the scenes, because a lot of that is rumor and speculation. And I hated seeing a lot of the media and all of the supporters out there just say that Myles Brennan was out for the year off of no base of truth. So that has just been bothering me so much, because I'm very fortunate to have some people in my family be very, very helpful and successful in the medical business. The one most private thing that you have as a human being is your own personal health. Okay? So that's something that really bothered me over this past week and a half. Just people trying to guess if Myles Brennan is out for the year. What I can tell you is with 95% certainty, he will not play on Saturday. So we say hi to Lemon, Leandra, Steve-O, the Gringo, watching from Columbia, South Carolina. Tommy bringing those Dan Patrick vibes, 6'6", 240. Are you really 6'6", 240, Tommy? And if you are, do you have 4 years of eligibility? Now, I want to start off this live stream with your opinion, okay? Because this is as much about you as it is about me. Because on my normal videos, I can always just give you my opinion. I do these live streams to get your opinion. I said South Carolina, Columbia, South America. Excuse me. I've been doing some radio in Columbia, South Carolina, so please forgive me. There are way too many Columbias, by the way. There are 2 Columbias in the SEC. Anyway, Columbia, South America is better than both of those Columbias, though. But 6'2", 235, TJ. So, your opinion. Who should be the starter on Saturday? Okay? Max Johnson or TJ Finley? Let me know what you think. What's up, King Ulysses, all the way from Denver? Give me your honest opinion, because I feel as if the responses we've gotten so far have been 4 out of every 5 of you have said Max Johnson. And we have he saying Max Johnson, LSU fan says Max Johnson, Leandra says Max Johnson, Mark says Max Johnson. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say Max Johnson. And the main reason why I'm going to say Max Johnson is one simple truth. He can run, okay? Because playing the quarterback position is really difficult as a freshman. And it's a lot easier if you can run. So something that we've seen at the NFL level, we've seen also at the college level, and I'm sorry if I'm sweating just a bit. I went on a 6-mile run before I did this broadcast. And yes, I did take a shower, but after your run, you're still kind of sweating. I don't want you to think that like I'm sweating because I'm nervous. I'm never nervous, but it was the longest run I've done in a while. I'm trying to shed some of this quarantine weight. So here's why I believe Max Johnson should be the starter. Because you can bring back some of that RPO game, and one of the most deadly plays in college football is the zone read, okay? And the reason why the zone read is so big is because it helps out your offensive tackles. And the reason why it helps out your offensive tackles is because defensive ends can't play aggressive. Now, look, you don't have to have the ability to do that, but as we saw against Missouri, it's a lot harder in goal line situations to score touchdowns when your quarterback cannot run. So King Ulysses says Max Johnson probably starts, but I do agree with this. I do think TJ Finley, especially with his arm strength, he probably has the strongest arm since Zach Mettenberger. And we're talking pure distance. And Ed Orgeron brought up this week that TJ Finley's accuracy has gotten better. Yusha from Ukraine, you are on time. I know it is like 7:30 in the morning in Ukraine. TJ, we've got guys downfield ready to catch the ball. He's calmer in the pocket. Also, light a fire under Max. So I could see that. I don't know about pocket presence simply because, SEC pass rush is so much different than high school. But with TJ Finley, if you have a bigger arm, that does force the safeties to play back. Max Johnson, he's got an okay arm. It's not exceptional like TJ Finley's arm. So, I just think from what I've been told that Max Johnson is slightly better. Not by much, but I've been told he is slightly better. The prospect rankings of both of them, Max Johnson was a 4-star, TJ Finley a 3-star, but there is a huge difference between 4-star and 3-star and actual reality. Because you take a look at the quarterbacks that have actually been great and the quarterbacks that aren't great. Honestly, when it comes to 3-star versus 4-star versus 5-star, it's kind of split down the middle. And I've seen a few people use that as their justification, that TJ Finley was a 3-star, Max Johnson was a 4-star. On the other hand, Max Johnson had unlimited resources and unlimited exposure because his dad just happened to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So I don't know TJ Finley's camp situation, but if you were to guess who has a better in the quarterback industry, Max Johnson probably had that. And sometimes with recruiting rankings, a name goes a long way, okay? And sometimes a name can hurt you. I remember Steph Curry, a lot of people thought he was just in high school good or relevant because his dad was great, when obviously Steph was an all-time great talent. Max Johnson could just be a 4-star player because of his dad. And that does go a long way. You look at a lot of the quarterbacks now that are dominant, they had fathers who were also quarterbacks and or football coaches. So, That goes a long way. It goes a really long way. What's up, Jesse? We have a lot of South Carolina viewers. I like it. So Max Johnson, I'm all in. TJ Finley, I'm all in. So now let's bring this up. Steve-O says both should play. So if you believe both should play, let me ask you this. How many of you believe a 2-quarterback system is viable? How many people think a 2-quarterback system is something you can do? Some people think it. You go back to 2011. Or as Tommy brings up, 2003. It's worked at LSU. Let me ask you this. Does LSU win the national championship in 2011 if they don't have Ryan Perrilloux? They don't. They simply don't. So it's important. The one thing I don't want to happen, okay? I don't want the alternating series thing. What I would like to see is one quarterback start a half. If Max Johnson starts and he's moving the offense, leave him in. If he's not, give TJ Finley the opportunity. Just don't alternate him. Now, if Max Johnson starts or TJ Finley starts and either one of them throws 2 pick sixes or 2 interceptions, then yeah, you got to pull them. Here's something else, okay? The one thing Max Johnson will do, if he is the better runner, is that it will open up the running game. Because you notice the LSU running backs aren't as good as they were last year. Now, none of them are as good as Clyde. None of them probably will ever be as good as Clyde. But a big reason why Clyde was good was because Joe Burrow can run. One thing that's hurting the LSU running game is that Myles Brennan, when you run out of shotgun, you have to remember when you're running out of shotgun, the running back does, and this is simple physics, the running back is not running downhill with a head of steam. Okay? Now, Ulysses works in science and mathematics, I believe. I think some of you do as well. Think about this, okay? If you are handing the football from under center, the running back is taking the carry with a full head of steam. Whereas if you're running the football out of shotgun, you're not generating as much downfield when you get the handoff. So with Max Johnson, if he does give you some zone read opportunities, that will definitely help out whoever LSU starts at running back, which is a different question. How should LSU rotate their running backs? I believe you should give John Emery the start and let him play the full half and then decide from there. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that LSU needs to bring back the I formation. No. I'm just saying when you run out of shotgun and you don't have a quarterback that can run, it makes it more difficult. So, for instance, a lot of you watch the NFL. You want to know why the Saints still runs a I formation? It's because you can't run zone read handoffs out of shotgun with Drew Brees. So now let's get to Tommy's question. This is just for one game, right? Not sure. Because here's the question you have to ask yourself if you're LSU. Let's say you put Myles Brennan back in there and he gets hurt again. And he gets seriously injured. That's a risk you can't really take when you know you have a starting quarterback who's that good, especially considering this season is not going to be a college football playoff season. So if you're LSU, you kind of have to look at this as a two-game situation for two reasons. The first is that obviously Myles Brennan isn't healthy enough to play Saturday. And the second is that Auburn doesn't look that good. So you play South Carolina this week. You play that game late. The next week, you have to fly to Auburn. Auburn's very talented. They brought in the worst offensive coordinator they could have brought in Chad Morris. Auburn is very mediocre. So here's what I would do if I'm the LSU coaching staff. I obviously don't know the LSU situation. I don't know how injured Myles Brennan actually is. But I would give Myles Brennan the bye week and then bring him back in for the big game against Alabama. So I agree with what Mark says. I agree with what Steve-O says as well. Probably see some pistol formation, so the running back will have to more forward momentum, but Emory gets to start this week. I hope so. I think LSU needs to let John Emory cook. He's your most talented back. I like Ty Davis-Price. Ty Davis-Price reminds me a lot of Darrell Williams. The only problem for Ty Davis-Price is that I think his ceiling is Darrell Williams. Now, Darrell Williams was a damn good back. He scored a touchdown for the Chiefs this past weekend. But Darrell Williams has a ceiling. I think Ty Davis-Price is very consistent. I think he's very focused and motivated. I also think he's a very smart player. But he has a ceiling. I think John Emory Jr. gives you the highest ceiling. Thus, you need to see what you really have with him. Now, Steve-O says John Emory's going to blow up. What's up, DBU7? He says Myles Brennan was supposed to practice today. We'll see what happens. Who has more upside, TJ or Max? Good question. So, based on the high school footage I saw of both of them, my personal honest opinion is that neither of them really blew me away. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to be great, because for me, I have a high threshold of watching a high school player on YouTube footage or on Huddle footage. And for those that don't know, Huddle is a high school app that allows you to post your highlights. So, obviously, the system plays a huge role into how good you're actually going to be. It is rare for any player's high school footage to blow me away. Usually, one or two or three LSU players I watch, I go like, okay, barring a disaster, that player is going to be amazing. It's going to take something out of the ordinary for me to watch a high school player's tape, especially at quarterback, and me go like, wow, okay. And actually, for the class of 2021, there's only one LSU commit where I watched his footage and I said, what is that? Really? He's committed to us? Everyone else is good. Don't get me wrong. But for the most part, where you actually become a great college football player happens when you actually get your ass into the program. But I'm dead serious. Now, Jesse says, who is that? I'm not going to reveal that just yet. That's going to be an upcoming video. I've been teasing it for a while, but this guy continues to blow me away. Continues to blow me away. But to be honest, there's only been one high school quarterback where I watched his footage and I said, okay, we're looking at an all-time great here. And that was Tua Tagovailoa. That was the only high school quarterback where I was like, okay. Now there have been others, but Tua was my highest rated high school quarterback ever. Okay. Where I said, okay, it's going to take a disaster for him to not be great. But more often than not, for you to actually become a great college football player, you actually got to put in the work in college. Last year, going back to last year, the only player in LSU's class last year where I was like, oh, okay, was Eric Gilbert. That was it. Everybody else was like, okay, I see it, but it's hard to be so undeniably great without actually, seeing what they do in college. Now, Justin Fields is another one where you were like, okay, wow. So when I say that Max Johnson or TJ Finley didn't blow me away, that's not a criticism. It is more of a rarity for me to go like, okay. And the reason why I say that is because when I actually watch YouTube, I know the level of competition isn't the same as it is in college. Also, I have lived with LSU football players in my apartment complex. I've spoken to so many of them, and it is unreal how many of them tell me that so much that goes into being a good college football player has everything to do with your work ethic when you get to the college level. So we'll see. Now, Walker Howard from St. Thomas More, yeah, and here's what was funny. So Walker Howard is a 2022 commit for LSU at quarterback, and he had never taken a high school varsity snap as a starter. And I was like, hold on just a minute. This kid can't be that good. And he's destroying it. But once again, same thing holds true. You have got to really blow me away for me to say, okay, it is undeniable that this kid is going to be great. Leonard Fournette is another one. But, it's rare. It's very rare. And something else that could backfire in that situation is that high school football can be so easy to you. You get to the college level and you don't put in the same work. I'm just like, okay, you got to actually put in the work. And I know that sounds like, very basic and you come here for deep LSU analysis, but legit, you've got to put in the work. And Lemon makes a good point. I loved Lowell Narcisse. And I know he had a bad injury this weekend, I believe. I think Lowell Narcisse could have been a Division I starting quarterback in the SEC. I really do. And he's been really good for UTSA. Booger went out? Okay. So, yeah. And a lot of it comes down to how you actually develop with your coaching staff. So, when you ask the question who has higher upside, it really is tough to say. Something else that wears on you as a college player is you never, as a college player, and this is why I advocate for off-season 7-on-7, you never get to play against someone else that isn't your opponent. In other words, when you become a college football player, the only time you ever play the only time you ever play the game of football is on your own practice field. That's it. You don't get preseason. You don't get it. So that takes a mental toll on you. You're away from your high school family. You're not traveling other places to get to play. You're going through the same routine year after year after year. So it wears on you. I cannot state this enough. The mental grind of being a college football player is very, very, very taxing. So, yeah, if I were to tell you who has a higher upside or who's a better player right now, I would be guessing. I would give a slight edge to Max Johnson, but that's about it. Now, moving on to what Mark says here, I would love to see Ali Gay, Jaquelin Roy, Apu Ika, and BJ Ojulari. Why haven't we seen this defensive lineup yet? So, a few things about BJ Ojulari, who's been one of LSU's top 10 players this year. He's been that good. The one thing you don't want to do is take away what he does better than anyone, which is pass rushing. So, as a true freshman, he is an extremely good pass rusher. We did a full film study on it. If you want the link to it, you can go to the page and check it out. The problem is he is exceptional on 3rd and long and true pass rushing situations. Why use him against the run when, that's not his thing? Now, we haven't really seen him play the run that much. I say keep him fresh for pass rushing situations. So when he gets on the field, he could make a play like a strip sack against Missouri. Or, like we showed in the film study, on Vanderbilt's only touchdown, if he wasn't held and brought down to the ground, he would have prevented a touchdown in the red zone. We say hi to Tristan. We say hi to Lemon. So, I get it. A lot of you want more BJ Ojulari. I love BJ Ojulari as much as any of you, but he's still a true freshman. You don't want to run him ragged. He still has 2 more years left in the program. And players do get snap accumulation, especially if you play for 3 years. Notice what happened to a lot of the LSU true freshmen who played a lot as a true freshman. When they got to their junior seasons, a lot of them get hurt. Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis, and the list goes on. So you don't want to run them ragged. We say hi to Jason. It's just different. It is very different. What happened? Ali Gay is going to be a monster. Yeah. Someone say Jared Lee. Jared Lee was a good friend of mine in college. Can any of them play the run? Good question. Criminal Minded. That's kind of a scary name. Criminal Minded. So, this is the next thing. Let's get into the LSU defense, and we'll get back to the LSU offense. Okay? First thing. LSU's defense has been so bad. We've seen what happened to Mississippi State. They're not really that good. We've seen what happened to Vanderbilt. They're really bad. In Missouri's other 2 games, they haven't been good either. So, Ulysses reads my mind. From what I've been told, Josh White is going to get some playing time. Now, hey, Bigger's inside. Our dog went outside for a walk. Hey, Bigger.
Good job, girl.
Josh White, I had higher rated than Antoine Sampa. 247 had them flip-flopped. Josh White sounds like he's the real deal. I'm sorry to say, I like Damone Clark. I like Jabril Cox. But so far, they've been a little soft. Okay? Now, they don't have big Tyler Shelvin in front of them. That obviously hurts. Obviously, playing in a 4-3 is a little bit different than a 3-4. But if Josh White can get in there and stop the run, put him in, coach. When are we going to see Jordan Tolles? He's played some. I think he got some snaps against Vanderbilt. What would be the hardest obstacle for the SEC to do a 7-on-7-3? You know what's funny? I went on the SEC Network's SiriusXM radio show a year and a half ago. Okay? I brought that up on their show. And I said, I hope the SEC commissioner's listening to me. Because nobody says no. And I don't want to make this live stream about that because it's more of an off-season topic. But it doesn't make any sense that they don't do it. High schools do it. NFL teams kind of do it. So we'll get into that in a different live stream. Or if you want to discuss it, Corey, after the live stream, hit me up on Twitter at Carter the Power. How simple do you need to make good tackling? Some people can't do it. So I remember watching Jabril Cox, and Cole Kubelik brought this up on his North Dakota State film study. And Cole's a friend of mine. He works for the SEC Network. Jabril Cox not being great against basic run plays did show up on film when he was a Bison. Now, he's an extremely talented linebacker, and they were talking about today in the media session, but he's not that good against the run. It's not his strong suit. Basic running plays. Now, he's a good sideline-to-sideline guy, but some people just aren't good when a running back is just coming straight downhill. Do you think Jacoby Stevens would be a good linebacker? I'm going to tell you this. I think some NFL teams are going to try him out there. He's got a big enough frame, and obviously, his football IQ is off the charts, as is his character and work ethic. So we'll see. We're about to get into recruiting here in a second. I just don't understand why they say fire Pelini. His 4-3-1 gap defense plays to the style Mason Smith, the core move form. Say they like this scheme. Yeah, but you know, I'm more worried about now, okay? Like, trust me, a lot of us are going to treat this, well, this year's a wash and these games don't matter. They still do matter, okay? I'm not one of these guys that says, okay, this season's over. Now, you do coach differently. You do play younger guys if, you continue to lose games. But, it's a problem. I think scheme is LSU's biggest issue. But I don't recall a situation because sometimes linebackers aren't necessarily thumpers. Some linebackers don't like to hit. But if you look historically, most of LSU's linebackers have been traditional thumpers. Not true sideline to sideline guys. Now, you have freaks of nature like Devin White, who's both. But Kelvin Shepard, Perry Riley were thumpers. So, Jacob Cutrera was a thumper. Keep Pelini until Mason Smith or Corey Foreman signs, right? Heck, I like the 3-star they have out of Miami. Kendall Beckwith. Kendall Beckwith was criminally underrated, especially considering he started his career as a defensive end. That's really good stuff. Let's see. This season does matter as it is. I can't. Oh, God. Brady James, Trev Falk, Ali Highsmith. Ali Highsmith was a pretty good hybrid, as was Brady James. Ali Highsmith was really good. I was shocked. He never did anything at the NFL level. I mean, he had all the tools. But then again, look who Ali Highsmith played behind. He had Ricky G. Francois and Glenn Dorsey. So, you know, it's kind of hard to not be an elite linebacker when you have those two monsters in front of you and Marlon Favorite. So we'll see. Now let's so obviously the defense is an issue. Derek Stingley Jr.'s health is an issue. That's a hell of a point, Carvis. I didn't think about that. There was a reason why they wanted Marcel Brooks to play middle linebacker. That's not something he really wanted to do. Also, I said at the time, when Marcel Brooks announced to transfer, maybe he doesn't look as selfish now as he once did. He probably saw what was ahead and said, no, I'm not going to do this. What's up, Trey? Welcome in. We're talking defense right now. Now the excuses, SMH. What excuses? I'm not making any excuses. So, we like to break up the football talk because it can get a little boring a little bit. So, what is on your plate tonight for dinner? Are you eating while you watch my live stream? Because tonight, I am having a slab of meat from Trader Joe's. It's like some seasoned, sealed meat. Now, I know they have Trader Joe's in Baton Rouge. Mark, you having hot wings? If they're Caribbean jerk hot wings, okay, the worst hot wing flavor of all time is honey barbecue. Don't waste my time with honey barbecue BS. What are way back burgers? What is a way back burger? We're going to get into recruiting real quick. I'm just curious. Tell me where you're watching from and what you're eating tonight. Let me see. Chad Lavallee is my all-time favorite LSU Tiger, by the way. Curry goat rice. Curry goat? Curry goat? What's up, Plum? You see, that's what I'm having tonight too, King Ulysses. Mild lemon pepper, Mark? Okay, lemon pepper is excellent, but spicy lemon pepper is where it's at. I'm a huge Pluckers guy, by the way. So next time I'm in Baton Rouge, I need to go to Pluckers with some of you guys. What is curry goat? Is that like Indian curry or what is that? Yeah, I know, Lemon. You named your family after lemon pepper chicken wings. I like that. Plum says chicken and waffles. Fitzpatrick Pitts. Okay, is that your first and last name? Fitzpatrick Pitts? That is, you sound like you went to Ole Miss with that name. Freshly caught grilled redfish. Korean salt and pepper wings? What? I've never had that. Where do you get those? It's an Indian dish. I've gotten some Indian food from Trader Joe's recently. There's not a Trader Joe's in the town that I live in, but there is one a few hours away, and my girlfriend and I go because their food is amazing. Pork chops and pasta. Yeah, Tristan. You know what? Okay. I have to agree. Alabama white sauce barbecue stuff. I know Tristan's a Bama guy. So anyway, who are you most excited for in the class of 2021 beside the video you're making? TJ Maxx has great clothes. They do. They do. Class of 2021. I like the Penn kid, the linebacker, and obviously he looks a lot better now. Let me go through the players. And like, obviously, Garrett Dellinger's a big deal. It's always good when you get a quarterback. Corey Kiner had a 7-touchdown game. Guys that I think are underrated. I think Keanu Colt is probably my favorite pass rusher in this class right now. I think Savion Jones is a future defensive tackle at LSU. I think they see him as a defensive tackle down the road. So those are a few players I like. Nathaniel Wiggins has a good build to be a good corner. So, yeah. JoJo Earl is a baller. He's a baller. So, yeah. Oh, Leandra's a chef. Okay. That's good, Leandra. I like that. So let's, chat a little bit of recruiting. I'm going to try and release a recruiting video tomorrow. My friend Reginald Hicks. Okay, that is a more Ole Miss name. I like that. What's up, Austin? Okay. There you go. I like that. I like the way you put that. So never is there a situation where you need just one recruit, okay? But of the 5 stars in the mix, all right, I would say the most valuable one would be Sage Ryan, simply because he could play any of the positions. In my mind, he's athletic enough to be a traditional corner. Most people see him as a safety. I like Sage Ryan a lot. I hope he comes to LSU. Would be a big deal. And then outside of Sage Ryan, Tristan Lee. Tristan Lee is also athletic enough to play both tackle and guard. I love JoJo Earl. Mason Smith is indeed a monster. But I will tell you this, and this includes the same thing for Corey Foreman. Watching Corey Foreman play, I don't believe defensive end is his best position. I think he could be a very athletic defensive tackle. And I think that's where the game is going. I see Corey Foreman with his frame. I could see him being an Aaron Donald type of player. Carvis makes a good point. Tristan Lee is a huge recruit, simply because he could play guard. I think he's athletic enough to play guard. Obviously, he's a tackle. You take a look historically at the elite offensive tackles. LSU has not gotten many elite offensive tackles. It's been a position that hasn't always been the strongest when it comes to recruiting for LSU. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Tristan Lee gives you a lot of versatility at a very important position. But I'll also tell you this. Last year's LSU offensive line had one elite prospect. And that one elite prospect was Deculus. All 4 of the others were 3 stars. So, you can have a successful offensive line. Cohesion's a big deal. Your quarterback's quick decision-making is a big deal. So, you could survive with underrated offensive linemen. But Tristan Lee is a real deal talent. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. And it was my barber's birthday today. And listen to this. Okay, I felt so bad because normally I'm a good tipper. He's one of my best friends. So it's not, he used to cut my hair for free. I don't let him do that anymore. But I didn't have any cash to tip my barber on his birthday. And well, some of you might not know. It just depends. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. You always tip your barber, especially if he gets your line right, okay? Now, that may not apply to some of you watching this, but it's just something that you do. Anyway. So it was my barber's birthday, and I didn't get that. If we get all three, Foreman, Smith, Lee, can we make a run at the Natty next year? So this goes back to what I was talking about with Austin. Is that true freshmen rarely, and I mean rarely, are important pieces to a national championship team. Okay? Most of your national championship key players are experienced guys. Okay? Derek Stingley Jr. is a unicorn. All right? It's just truth. He's a unicorn. So we'll see. And, you look at Alabama every year. Alabama gets a lot of elite offensive linemen. And I'm not just talking about elite offensive linemen. I'm talking about top 10 national guys. So last year, all right, and I still say this to this day, one of the things that really made LSU impressive last year was that Alabama's recruiting class from 2017 was one of the greatest recruiting classes I've ever seen, okay? That 2017 class was insane. Their lowest rated starter on offense last year was a 3-star tight end. Every single player on their offense was a top 100 recruit. Alabama's so great every year is because all their prospects are that elite. So we'll see. I have 2 wide receivers and a running back going to LSU from your school. Where's your school, Mark? I'm interested. Is starting a true freshman QB this weekend good for recruiting? I think maybe. I don't know. It's something else about recruiting that I think is kind of weird is that, we think a single game or just one thing has a huge effect on any one recruit. I'm not so sure if that's the case. I think recruiting has a lot to do with relationship building. There are some recruits, though, where how the offense or defense actually looks plays a huge role in their recruitment. For instance, the reason why Eric Gilbert came to LSU was the 2019 team. He saw that and said, okay, I can play that tight end role better than the guy that they currently have, which he could. But, I think recruiting is so much more relationship building. Kyle, welcome. Why do you think the OT issue exists at LSU? Because recruiting is random. It is so random. So we'll see. I don't know. That is a good question. Some schools are better at recruiting positions than others. Like, obviously, Oklahoma is better at recruiting quarterbacks than anybody. Who's a better QB right now, Walker Howard or Garrett Nussmeier? That's still too early to say. Walker Howard has just played 2 or 3 games. So, if I gave you I would just be giving you a guess. I like Nussmeier a lot. Good point. We actually brought that up recently. Kerry Vincent Jr. Was consistently rated as LSU's best athlete according to their perch squat technology. So we'll see. NFL plays a big role. We haven't put too many offensive linemen in the NFL. Let's see. I would disagree with that, Plum. Who was that? So Ethan Posick, Try Turner. Let's see who else. Will Clapp has stuck in the NFL. Garrett Brumfield. Now, none of these guys have been exceptional outside of Trey Turner. Let's see. We need to recruit form tacklers. Well, the Penn kid out of Maryland's supposed to be just that. So we'll see. All right. Do you see Bama losing a game the rest of the regular season? Yes, I do. They've already beaten Georgia, right? Here's why I think Bama's going to lose at least one game. Simply because playing an SEC school every single week doesn't allow you bye weeks. So there will be a game where either Bama's offense isn't as elite or Bama's defense is just god-awful. And in that game, there could be an upset. Now, Bama's already beaten Texas A&M. Bama's already beaten Georgia, and those are probably two of their tougher games. Auburn is still going to be tough, and LSU is still going to be tough. Heck, Arkansas is not a run-over team anymore. Tommy, congratulations. Class action lawsuit. Ron, why are you so late? You know that this is a 7 p.m. live stream, Ron. I thought that game was Ole Miss, yeah. They've seemingly beat the top two teams in the SEC already. Auburn does have their number. Remember, this is a random year. Ask yourself this question. Is Mac Jones so exceptionally good where you see him not having a bad game? Ron, come on, Ron. Don't bring up CPT. There's a lot of people in here that don't know what CPT means. Come on, Ron. Don't do me like that. We're about to end it in a second. My girlfriend wants to make sure we're eating on time tonight. She's mad at y'all. Okay, it's y'all that make me stay on this live stream. It is y'all. It is your fault. I blame Plum. I blame Ulysses. I blame all of you guys. Florida is best suited to beat Bama. Maybe so. We're cooking. You see, Ron, we've already gone through the cuisine part. I always say halfway through, we do the cuisine part. Okay? I know, Jesse, it's all your fault. Okay? Oh, you know what I was going to do tonight? I was going to show you guys the card that I'm going to give away when we hit 1.5 thousand subscribers. And it's all the way over there. I'm a little too lazy to get up. My girlfriend's already mad at me. Sexy singles in my area tonight. I just got that text. How about that, Tommy? Tommy's part of a class action lawsuit. I'm kidding. I didn't get the sexy single text. I kind of want to give this card away. Joe Burrow. This is a fake PSA card. So this is a one I just got in the mail. All right. I'm going to hold on to this one for a while. I got this Sistine Chapel. Let me see. I hate when people put these kind of stickers. Well, it's on the actual card. I hope it's not on the card. I want y'all to see this. Sistine Chapel Odell Beckham Jr. Prism. What do y'all think of that card? Look how it glows. The ring light's a little bit in the way. Good question. I know Ed Ingram is back, but is Dare Rosenthal back as well? Dare has not been healthy. He has not been healthy. And I think what happened to him, he got injured early against Mississippi State, tried to play through it, didn't play well at all. Cam Wire comes back, has a good game against Vanderbilt, and Dare Rosenthal comes back against Missouri and has a pretty respectable game. So we'll see. I think Austin Deculus has had a really good year. I do. I think Ed Ingram's been okay, but he's going through injury as well. What type of DTs do you think work best in this type of defense? You know, this is how I feel about defensive tackle play. So for me, in high school, I was a defensive tackle, okay? But I was a unicorn defensive tackle, all right? I wasn't your normal DT. They brought me in on 3rd and long, and they would rush me from end. They would rush me from 0 or a 3 technique or whatever. And that's all I could do. So I view defensive tackle play a little bit different. I am not a run stopper. I believe you can be undersized and be a run stopper. I was 5'7", 180 in high school. And I played at the highest level of high school football you could play at Arkansas. I went up against a few guys that played college football. And I went to some of the camps. I'm not going to tell you how much I weigh now. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm 215 now. I'm not sure, 210. So what I think for the defensive tackle position, you just have to be consistent and you have to be smart. Now, it's kind of hard to be either of them when you didn't get, this offseason to properly condition yourself. But I'll tell you this, the LSU defensive tackle play against Missouri was really bad. And it's the worst it's been in quite some time. All of it has been horrible, really bad. So we'll see. I was really shocked. And I don't know why he sat out the first 2 games. It was kind of weird. Drake Nevis, Anthony Johnson will be good. Really good players. Drake Nevis was really good. Let's see. Glenn Logan did not have a good Missouri game. I went back and it was not good. He looked out of shape. He was getting washed out of the hole. He looked confused in the new system. Do I think conditioning is a problem for LSU this year? Hell yes, but the defensive scheme isn't the same. I cannot say this enough, and I said this before the year began, but LSU did not have their regular conditioning program as they normally do. It drastically changed. The one thing that kind of shocked me, though, was a lot of their experienced guys, outside of Ika, it's, I've been a little disappointed with some guys that have been around for a while. Now, Todd Harris, I have been a little shocked how inconsistent he's been, but he's coming off a major injury. So we'll see. Now, let's talk about South Carolina, and then we'll get out of here. No, Jesse, I don't. I don't like making that excuse because everybody had to deal with this. Hell, look at the probably the second best team in the West right now. And trust me, I don't like to say this. It's probably Arkansas. All right. So I grew up in Arkansas. I'm from Baton Rouge. Arkansas had a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, and a transfer quarterback come in. And if you go watch them on tape, they play the most mistake-free, smart football you'll ever see. But you want to know why Arkansas is good? Because they're experienced. They brought in experienced coaches that know the SEC, and they have really smart football players. LSU does not play smart football right now. A lot like, the Dallas Cowboys. They're not a smart football team. Jacoby and Guillory better get some playing time this weekend. I don't think he's fully healthy. I think they're slowly working him in, but I do like Guillory a lot. I liked Guillory better than Jaquelin Roy. I think they're about equal, though. They're different players. But let's focus on South Carolina just a little bit. I'll tell you this. I've had to watch more South Carolina football because I have been doing some ESPN radio hosting in South Carolina. And you're right, Ulysses. I mean, hell, Arkansas just plays smart. Okay? That's all you got to do. LSU's defense is not playing smart. Don't blow coverage assignments. If you don't blow coverage assignments, you're going to win a lot of football games. But when you give up wide open touchdowns and you get washed out of your gap in the running game and your linebackers can't tackle, guess what? You're going to be historically bad on defense against teams that aren't any freaking good. So we'll see. Now, Colin Hill is a really good quarterback. He's not someone that's going to blow you away, but he's just really good. Colin Hill reminds me a lot of Phillip Rivers, a consistent pocket quarterback, not a cannon arm, but knows what to do with the football, except Colin Hill doesn't make mistakes late in games like Phillip Rivers does. And Colin Hill's receivers have dropped a lot of easy passes. So Colin Hill is really good. They have a good tight end in Knox. They have two good running backs that run hard and run between the tackles. Their defense, a lot of you remember Jordan Birch. He takes up a lot of headlines because he was the 5-star player. Their defense is okay. I think this is one of the better defenses for Max Johnson to go up against, simply because they don't have anyone on defense that you're like, okay, wow. Now, here's the issue. South Carolina has really good cornerback play. So they're not going to make mistakes. They have a good quarterback who makes good decisions. They're good at running the football between the tackles. This could be trouble for LSU. One thing I would say, though, South Carolina's coming off an emotional win against Auburn. The week before, they had to go on the road at Vanderbilt, and that game wasn't a blowout until the fourth quarter. It was a competitive football game until late. Semi-competitive. This game is up in the air. Now, I'm going to give you a prediction later. LSU is a 7-point favorite. The over-under is currently sitting at 57.5. I would lean towards the under, but we'll see. But I've been very impressed with South Carolina so far this year. I have been. You're right, Mike. Go Tigers. Here's a good comment from Austin. Can the freshman QBs not live and die by the long ball? Myles has been hitting the long TDs all season. Eric, go get it. Won't be good for stats, but gets us points. It should be a fun game to watch if you don't want LSU to win big. Like, yeah, Jesse, you live in South Carolina, so this game's a little more personal for you. I got you. So, I told my girlfriend I'll be out of here by 8:15 Central. It is question time. Ask me any question. I don't do this early enough. Don't forget, subscribe. When we get to 1.5 thousand subscribers, I am giving away, I'm just going to say it. It's actually over there. I don't want to get up. Good question, Plum. The game is on ESPN, and it is a night kickoff at 6 Central. Oh, yeah, Plum, you're in Lake Charles. I'm sorry about that, man. Shiloh Sanders dropping the boom. So, if you want to reach out to me directly, the easiest way to do that is hitting me up on Twitter or Instagram at Carter the Power, or you can always comment below in the video. Now, some of you like to send personal messages to me. I try my best to respond to all of them. I will be traveling this weekend to Fayetteville for a wedding, so if it's a little late for me to respond, I'm sorry. Well, LSU reached the 100-yard rushing mark this week. So my question, are you saying as a team or an individual? Mark says, will we win 6 games this year? So right now, LSU is 1-2, and they've yet to play the toughest games on their schedule. You have to go to Arkansas, and not only do you have to go to Arkansas, you got to go to Arkansas the week after you play Bama. South Carolina's up in the air. You got to go to Auburn. We don't know the health of Myles Brennan. I would say right now LSU is a 5-5 football team. Is that 5-hour energy for? I actually finished this 5-hour energy already. I'm a little tired. Went on a 6-mile run today. We also got to think Myles might play on Saturday. And you're right, Brent. I do think, though, it's kind of a stretch to put Myles Brennan back on the field already. I really do. Both really. Okay. 100 yards. I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to be positive and go with yes, simply because they do get Ed Ingram back. First play you're calling for Max. I'm a pass on first down kind of guy. I'm going a quick out to my friend and yours, Eric Gilbert. What stat line do you predict from Max Johnson? Well, it's hard for me to say because I don't know if he's starting yet. I do believe he starts. If we were to put the over-under on passing yards for Max Johnson in his first game at LSU, I would set the over-under at 200, and I would actually take the under. Go take a look at true freshman quarterback statistics. I don't believe there has been a true freshman quarterback in the SEC in recent years that has averaged over 200 yards passing per game. Not Jalen Hurts, not Jacob Fromm, not even Drew Lock, who is one of the best SEC quarterbacks statistically ever. 6 miles, who you trying to impress? So the reason why I'm running a lot of miles is because I've not put a suit on in a year. So obviously, like a lot of people have, I've eaten way too many Oreos. I have gained a little bit of weight. I'm not sure if I could fit in my suit. So that's why I ran the 6 miles today. Which running back Storch? Which running back starts or gets the most carries? So first off, Carvis, I brought this up talking to you earlier this week. Where does the name Carvis come from? Carvis sounds like a very sophisticated English name, or it sounds like a name of, a car rental place. Carvis does sound like that. Come to Carvis, unlimited miles. Let's go. I hope it's John Emery to answer both of your questions. And to answer King Ulysses, I said over 100 yards. I hope John Emery goes over 100 yards himself. If LSU wins all its games versus the opponents in the West, where does that put us in the postseason? Not in the playoff. I'm sorry. I wouldn't put LSU in the playoff with losses to Mississippi State and Missouri. Can't do it. Bunch of Ole Miss people tonight, right? With the name, I just love Carvis. That's just great. I'm Carter. So, yeah, Carvis. I like that. Can we hold South Carolina to 31 points? Wow. That's a good question. So, according to Vegas, if they have LSU as a 7-point favorite and the over-under is set at 57, Vegas is projecting South Carolina to score only 21-ish points. So I'm going to side with Vegas and say LSU's defense comes out and plays better. Kyle, about time you showed up. We need the Las Vegas Bowl. My mom name is Carla, so my aunt... I like that, man. I like that. That's cool. I don't know why, but it seems like in the South, aunts have more power than in the North or in other parts of the country. I'm telling you, my aunts, huge deal to me. Even though I didn't live near any of them, I'm very close to all my aunts. The Vegas Bowl is in the new Raider Stadium. The Roomba Stadium. Jesse, are you cheering for LSU this weekend? You better be cheering for LSU this weekend, Jesse. Oh, Corey, are you kidding? What kind of question is that? Do you think Clemson could survive one season in the SEC? Are you kidding me? Really? Now, look, they would lose more games, but yes, go take a look at Dabo Swinney's record versus SEC teams. Okay? You remember that Dabo Swinney team with Taj Boyd? They beat us. Okay? Dabo's beaten a lot of SEC teams. Hell, name an SEC team that's played Alabama better than Clemson. Nobody. That's a silly question. Okay? Hell yes, they can, especially now. All right? And this is a big myth. All right? A big myth about the national championship game is that LSU killed Clemson. No, they didn't. That game was very competitive. All right? And don't lie. A lot of you had knots in your stomach when Clemson went up 17-7 to start that game. Now, lucky enough, LSU had Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, the greatest wide receiver quarterback combo ever. And LSU was able to win. But remember this. That was a very competitive game. All right? We competitively killed Clemson. So here's what I'll do. All right? I brought this up on Twitter too. And I'll always stand by it. All right? I've watched the national championship game, as have a lot of you, multiple times over. Okay? And I'm not going to lie. Same thing with Steve-O. I had a lot of money on LSU in that game. Okay? I thought LSU was going to win the game. All right? I thought LSU was going to win by double digits, which they did. However, a few things happened in that game. The first thing is that if you were to tell Clemson before the game that you would force LSU to punt 4 times in the first half and you'd lose by 17, you would be crazy. And you're right, Steve-O, they did. But for 3.5 quarters, that game was very competitive. And you are right, SRT. LSU could have kept the foot on the pedal. The reason why Clemson got destroyed was 2 things, all right? This was the one thing that the national media, and I hate the national media when it comes to the college football playoff because they get a lot of this wrong. All right. So this was a huge myth. And whenever I went on national shows or whatever shows, Austin said at no point did I think Clemson was actually going to win that game. Okay. I didn't either. I thought LSU was going to come back and win too. All right. I thought early on LSU was deep in their own territory. But this was the reason why that game ended up being a 17-point game. It's because the media overhyped Trevor Lawrence. Okay? And this is a point I'm making, Austin. The reason why Clemson got their asses kicked is because Trevor Lawrence sucked. Last year, Trevor Lawrence was not an exceptional quarterback. Go look at his numbers against Texas A&M, Ohio State, and LSU. Under 50% passing. He wasn't that good against the better teams. All right? So what happened going into the game, and why a lot of people thought the game was going to be close according to the score line, is because the media kept hyping up that this was Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow, when it wasn't. If you go look at them statistically, Joe Burrow was on a different stratosphere than Trevor Lawrence, a different plane of thought. Going into the game, Trevor Lawrence had two games where he threw for over 300 yards. Joe Burrow last year only had 2 games where he didn't throw for 300 yards. It wasn't even a contest, okay? There was a huge gap in quarterback play. And I knew that LSU would eventually come back. Now, my girlfriend's saying, hurry up. So, Clemson was challenged. North Carolina had a good team last year. Now, the ACC, they weren't as challenged as much as LSU, but they were challenged by Ohio State. But for the most part, I do agree with you, DRC. I really do. But here's the truth, okay? And tell me if I'm lying, all right? LSU's pass protection in the first half against Clemson was not good. It simply wasn't good. I've done the tape. I've spoken to people that were involved with the play calling. Clemson was getting after Joe Burrow, okay? But Joe Burrow was more mobile than what Clemson projected him to be. And he made plays with his legs. He avoided 2 sacks that would have killed scoring drives simply because Joe Burrow could run, okay? So this... Okay, I gotta go. Oh, don't drop that. Oh, no, she dropped the vegetables. No, you can't drop the vegetables. Oh, no. You dropped the vegetables. At least it wasn't the protein. See you, Plum. So I'll end on this, okay? So if you go back and actually watch, and honestly, go back and watch this game. If you have nothing to do tonight, you can do this, okay? Go back and watch. LSU's pass protection really struggled with what Brent Venom was throwing at him. That's why LSU had to punt 4 times in the first half. Lawrence sucked. He sucked. Something else happened. Clemson's pass defense started to suck. The next live stream will be after the game on Saturday. Tuesday night live streams at 7, post-game live streams. So, to end, Clemson, for the first time, had the opportunity to do something no other team was able to do against Joe Burrow. Clemson actually dropped a pick 6 in the second half that would have given them the lead, okay? But because Trevor Lawrence sucked, and because Clemson's secondary started to get torched by Jamar and Justin and Terrace, that's why that game ended up being a blowout, okay? Clemson's game plan wasn't bad. They decided to allow Trevor Lawrence to win in the game, which I think they should have run Etienne more in the second half. That was my biggest disagreement. But they told their defensive backs, hey, we're going to let you decide this game, and we're going to let you play man coverage on the outside. It worked the first 2 drives, and then it didn't anymore because Jamar Chase is a freak of nature. So, go Tigers. We got a big game. Once again, subscribe to the channel. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Carter the Power. And I would love to respond to any messages you have. Subscribe to the channel. Take good care. Thank you, DRC. Thank you, Steve-O, watching all the way in South America. Shout out to Yusha in Ukraine. And don't forget, we're giving out a Patrick Queen autograph card. Not auto. Not that. We're giving away a Patrick Queen rookie card when we hit 1.5 thousand subscribers, okay? Give me a Go Tigers in the comment section. I appreciate you guys watching. And we'll talk to you next time on Power Hour LSU. Let's go.